So it looks like the moment all the PC gamers were waiting for has finally arrived, but we do also have some very unfortunate news as well. Let's discuss that in this video. Hey, if you enjoy content like this, drop a like, make sure to subscribe, and smash that bell so you never miss another video. Hey, what is going on guys? Danny here, welcome back to the channel and I hope you've all been doing well. It finally happened. We had known for quite some time now that Ethereum was going to switch to proof of stake, but there wasn't really any sort of concrete date as to when it was going to happen, and there were a few delays that happened as well. Now, I'll drop a link in the video description if you guys want to read in more detail as to what proof of stake is and how it affects Ethereum. I'm not someone who is too heavily invested in Ethereum or crypto for that matter, but the TLDR of it is that they're switching from proof of work to proof of stake. Before, miners were using graphics cards to mine Ethereum coins, and this is what caused a huge strain on the GPU supply. In late 2020 and for basically all of 2021, when crypto was booming, cards were out of stock and prices were ridiculously high because miners were just buying everything up. And so therefore, PC gamers couldn't really buy anything at a reasonable price. In the middle of 2022 is when crypto fell quite drastically, and we finally started to see GPUs become more readily available at retailers, and prices were starting to creep down back to MSRP. With Ethereum going proof of stake, GPU mining is basically dead. I mean, sure, there are other coins out there that can still be mined using GPUs, and some miners may switch to that for the time being until they gradually offload their supply, but from what my understanding is that in order for the coins to be even profitable to mine, especially considering how much higher electricity costs have become around the world, those coins would need to 10x in value, if not even more, and that's just not likely. If miners started switching to those other coins with lower value, then it's just going to further tank their value, which doesn't help it at all. So what's going to happen is that you're probably going to see a surplus of graphics cards hit the used market. You can probably go over on to places like eBay or other used marketplaces and see that it's already happening. Current gen cards like the AMD RX 6000 series, Nvidia RTX 3000 series, along with previous gen models from the 20 series of Turing, AMD 5000 series, you'll see a lot of them going up onto used markets with some pretty good deals. With how high the value of crypto had inflated over the past couple of years during the boom, I'm sure most of these miners have already made their money back from these GPUs, so they're looking to offload the cards at some low prices to recoup whatever they can. As an example, I just searched up an RTX 3080 Ti on eBay and saw someone listed it for about $600 US. While graphics card prices have fallen as well at retailers, they aren't quite at this level. Right now, 3080 Ti's are going for about $800 plus, so that's definitely a considerable difference for someone to go, well, I could try my luck with a used graphics card, and if this miner did take good care of their card, then that next person will get to enjoy a fast graphics card for a really cheap price. You'll continue to see deals like this pop up, not just for the 3080 Ti, that was just an example, but for all various sorts of models and SKUs that AMD, Nvidia, and their partners ship out. So it might be worth it to check out your used local marketplaces because there's a chance you can snag a great deal for a GPU. Obviously, you'll want to be careful though, because when buying used, you don't know what the card has actually been through. Especially when you know that almost all of these GPUs that are going to start hitting the used market were used for mining, which means 24/7 operation. There's going to be concerns there about how the card's condition is. Was it overclocked? Was it undervolted? How much the memory has degraded? What are the conditions of the fan? Is the seller willing to let you test the GPU, etc.? There are some great videos out there on YouTube made by other PC hardware enthusiasts that have info on what to look out for when buying a used GPU so that you can make a wise decision with your hard-earned money. So I definitely recommend checking those videos out before you go hunting for used GPU deals. With a surplus of GPUs hitting the used market, this will have major implications, especially to retailers selling new stock. As we had just discussed numerous times in my previous videos, right now there's an oversupply of current gen GPUs, even though you can find them below MSRP, and that's because people are waiting for next gen models, or they want to see current gen GPUs for way below MSRP. That means if people can get an RTX 3080 for around $450 or an RTX 3090 for $700 used, then that's what a lot of people are going to be doing. They're going to say, screw paying these inflated prices on old hardware from these retailers. I might as well try my luck with the used market if that means I can save significantly more as opposed to buying new. Retailers and manufacturers are already having trouble with moving supply for current gen cards, Especially with Nvidia teasing new series and with Ethereum now going proof of stake, this is only going to further exacerbate that problem. And when I mean their problem, I'm talking about the manufacturers, because this is only good for us consumers. Prices are going to go down further. Because if you're going to pay high prices for something, you want it to be fairly fresh on the market. Who wants to pay MSRP or near MSRP for 2-year-old graphics cards? Or if you're going to go for last gen, you're expecting some really good deals from retailers. If not, you can go hunting for one on the used market. Why would I pay $850 for a 3080 Ti when maybe I could find it for $550? Or, why would I pay almost $300-400 for a 3060 Ti when I could find it for maybe $200? It just doesn't make sense. Nonetheless, PC gamers should be really happy about this, aside from expecting cheap current-gen graphics cards. This puts a pretty heavy strain on manufacturers like AMD and Nvidia, that now, guys, you can't go crazy with your pricing when it comes to next-gen GPUs, because PC gamers will then compare it to how much they can get a 3080 or 6700 XT for, and go, yeah, that's not worth it. Unless these next-gen cards are insanely fast in gaming. I'm talking about double the performance in every segment, and who knows, it could be that, but it's going to be tough to convince someone to buy a $2,000 RTX 4090 when you can get a 3090 for less than half the price. And, let's be real here, guys. The only reason why AMD and Nvidia could get away with pricing an RX 6700 XT at $480 MSRP when it really should have been like $330, or an RTX 3080 Ti for $1,200 is because they knew it was miners who are buying these cards and not PC gamers. Along with that, with Ethereum abolishing GPU mining, this may finally put an end to crypto mining altogether. As I said, there might be some other coins out there that miners will switch to, and for those that do mine, let me know in the comments, but as I said earlier, if they aren't really that profitable as ETH was, then there's no point. So in the future, if ETH does skyrocket and there's not another bull run in the crypto market, and you see all these various coins, shooting up in price, it's not like that will have a direct impact on graphics cards anymore, and that there would be some kind of a new mining boom. I'm also glad because crypto mining was just straight up horrible for the environment, so there's that as well. Now, moving away from that topic, we recently learned some terrible news that EVGA, one of Nvidia's biggest partners, are terminating their partnership with Nvidia and stepping out of the GPU market altogether. That means you will not be seeing any RTX 40 series cards from EVGA. Steve from Gamers Nexus did a fantastic job at covering the story. I'll drop a link to his video in the description, and I recommend just going and watching that. I'm not going to go into all the details here. I just wanted to discuss my reaction about this development because this is a pretty big deal that will send ripples across this market. It's pretty sad to hear, and I was quite shocked to see that when I saw their tweet. This is EVGA we're talking about. They've been around for as long as Nvidia was manufacturing GPUs, and they're one of their biggest partners. But when I did watch that video, it became pretty easy to understand why EVGA made the decision they did. Nvidia is, well, simply put, a shitty company to work with. I mean, you can't deny they didn't treat their main consumers like crap over these past few years, but in this market, what other choice do you have? It's not like there are 10 other graphics card or GPU manufacturers making cards that you can buy from. But the way they treat their partners is pretty disgusting, and I don't blame EVGA at all for saying we've had enough and we're out. Hearing things like AIBs don't even know the pricing on products that are on their assembly lines as we speak until Jensen himself is on stage announcing pricing is kind of despicable. Along with that, while the GPU market was EVGA's primary stream of revenue, I think it was like 80%, it was no longer profitable for them. There was a picture shared recently from BestBuy.com that showed how Nvidia was selling their Founders Edition 3090 Ti for about $1099 versus EVGA, who was selling the GPU for $1399. So that's $300 difference, and they were still coming up as a loss to them. And on top of that, Nvidia was just undercutting. Again, Gamers Nexus did a good job covering all of this in more detail, but when you see this kind of mistreatment, it starts to really make sense. At the end of the day, I am quite sad to see EVGA exit the GPU market. I've owned several of their cards in the past, and while I didn't particularly have the best experience with their warranty department, they did make things right with me in the end, and who knows, that could have just been a one-off experience, but most people will tell you they've had pretty good customer service, and what I can vouch for is that they had excellent communication. Even if their QC was a little shoddy, I could still easily get in touch with someone and have a conversation. I wasn't sending emails and waiting for them to reply after like a month or two. I could, give them a call and someone would be able to talk to me about what was going on. when they had issues in the past and when there were recalls needed, they were quick and thorough with their communication. They would put statements on their website. They would, mail out people thermal pads. They did everything they could to, try to keep good relationship with customers. They had a great step-up program, which allowed you to upgrade to a newer model, but still giving you full value of the card you had just paid for. No other AIB even did that. So it is, really displeasing to see that we're going to be losing an AIB who did stuff like this for the community. And you guys know me, I'm a fan of market competition, because this then forces companies to compete with each other rather than be complacent. And I'm hoping that doesn't happen in this space where now partners who remain are just going to go, haha, we now get a more larger piece of the pie without having to do any extra work. I wish to see someone like Asus, MSI, or Gigabyte step up to the plate and help fill that void so many people cherished. But I don't know, man, it's just sad to see. Now, EVGA isn't going to go out of business. Their CEO told GN they still plan on continuing their operations in other existing markets like power supplies, cooling keyboards, etc. And all I can say to that is hopefully they find better success in those markets. I've also used their power supplies in the past, had a pretty good experience. So that'll do it for this one. A mix of really good news this week and also some pretty bad news too. So let me know how you guys feel about this one. If you guys found this video to be informative and entertaining, then leave a like. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Be sure to check out the video description for cool links and ways to support the channel, such as using my Amazon affiliate link. And if you're interested in seeing more content like this, then consider subscribing. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.